Okay, eighth grade, it's that time again. We're jumping into lesson 7. So today we are looking at delineating and evaluating an argument specifically about industrial organic farming. Okay, so we're going to continue to read the anchor text, and then we're going to look through the author's argument and delineate the argument. Okay. However, first we need to go to page 36 in our student workbooks, and we're going to work on the entrance ticket for today. So please go ahead and pause the video now, and let's begin working through that. Okay, guys, if you've not had a chance to share out as a class yet about the entrance ticket, let's go ahead and do that now. All right, guys, so your entrance ticket today was to retrieve your copy and to turn to page 130. You're supposed to locate the sentence that says 40 years ago, there was no such category as organic food. Read from this sentence until the end of page 132. So that was quite a lengthy piece of text that you guys had to read for an entrance ticket, but that's okay. Get you some good practice. In the space below, write down 1 or 2 quotes from this section that stand out to you about the birth of organic food. I trust that you guys probably had all kind of different answers. Here are some of the ones you could have chosen. The word organic has become a kind of shorthand for food that is healthier or more natural or chemical free. Once upon a time, all food was organic. That's pretty powerful, huh? The first Earth Day was held in April 1970, and the idea of organic food began to catch on. The word organic meant more than a method of farming. It meant living in harmony with nature instead of trying to control it. Okay, those are all really, really powerful quotes. Let's go ahead and look at our learning targets for today. So I can delineate and evaluate the argument in the omnivore's dilemma, assessing whether the reasoning is sound and the evidence is relevant and sufficient. I can delineate a speaker's argument and specific claims, evaluating the soundness of the reasoning and relevance and sufficiency of the evidence, and identifying when irrelevant evidence is introduced. All right, guys, so today we are going to read another section. You're reading section 5, and that is these pages right here, 133 to 134, 147 to 150, and 153 to 155. So please go ahead and pause the video now, and let's begin our reading however your teacher wants you to do that, whether individually or with a partner. All right, guys, so now that you've done your reading, I need for you to write a gist today on your gist tracker. Remember, 20 words or less, you're capturing a gist for all of these pages combined together. So please go ahead and do that now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there are a couple vocabulary words that I would like for you to take note of, and I'm going to tell you where to find those now. Monoculture is on page 133. Please write that down. I want you guys to look that up. Monoculture. Industrial is on page 133 as well. I would like for you to look that up. Industrial. Barracks, B-A-R-R-A-C-K-S, is on page 149. And herbicide. Page 155, herbicide. A substance that is toxic to plants. I would like for you to look that up and give me the full definition for that. So go ahead and pause the video and let's do that now. All right, guys, a couple think, pair, share questions. So I want for you guys to focus on this one. What were some of your reactions to the things the author talked about in section 5? So think, pair, share. Turn to your elbow partner now and talk about what were some of your reactions about the things you read in section 5. Okay, guys, we're going to turn and talk again. Pros and cons. So you read about industrial organic farming today. So what is one pro related to industrial organic farming, and what is one con? So pro is good. This is a good thing. Con is what is a negative side of that. So please go ahead and turn and talk with your elbow partner now. All right, guys, it's time to pick apart this argument. So it's time to look really at what Michael Pollan is saying about industrial farming, and figure out, what's factual and what's not, okay? Or not what's not factual, but what's he saying, what's relevant and what's irrelevant. That's the word I was looking for. All right. So Pause to think about Michael Pollan's point of view and purpose for writing this section of the text. So talk about that as a class. What was the purpose and what is his point of view in writing this particular section that you guys read today? All right, guys, so today you're going to answer selected response questions. So these questions are going to be multiple choice. So here, let's go over the strategies very quickly about how we do this effectively. Read the question very carefully, cover the answers, and try to think of the answer yourself. Then read the answers and find the one that is most like yours. As you read through each answer, think back to the text, what happened in the text that makes you think that might be right, and cross out answers that you know are incorrect. So you guys are going to be working on the Delineate an Argument Section 5 graphic organizer. This is on page 38 through 41 in your student workbook. So please go ahead and go there now. You guys are going to go ahead and begin working through this, okay? I'm going to ask that you do this independently because I want to know what your answers are and how you got to them on your own. This is a pretty lengthy graphic organizer, so this is going to take you guys some time, okay? So I want you to go ahead and pause the video and begin working on this now, and then I'm going to go over these answers, some of these answers with you, okay? So let's go ahead and start working on our Section 5 graphic organizer. All right, guys, you're back to me on the video, so I'm assuming you're ready to go ahead and go over your answers. So the first question was, what is the author's purpose for writing this text? You should have chosen D. The author's purpose is to inform people about the reality of industrial organic farming practices. The next question asks, what is the main claim of this section of the text? Your answer should have been C. Industrial organic food is only a partial improvement over industrially produced food. The next question said, what is one supporting point for the main claim? Your answer should have been A. Although fed organic foods, many cows are raised in factory farm conditions. The next question was not a multiple choice. You had to go back into the text and find one piece of relevant evidence that supports this point. Two of the best pieces of evidence, one came from page 133, and it says the cows on these farms spend their time in a fenced lot eating organic grain, except for the 3 times a day they are hooked up to milking machines. The second one is on page 134, organic beef is often raised in organic feedlots. The next question said, what is another supporting point for the main claim? You should have said A. Even with labels like free range, many of the same factory farm methods for raising chickens are in place. The next question says, what is one piece of relevant evidence that supports this point? There was a couple. So on page 149, you might have said the machinery can turn a chicken from a clucking feathered bird into a shrink-wrapped pack of parts in just 10 minutes. I know that's awful, guys. I'm sorry. Another one was on page 149. 20,000 is a lot of chickens. Inside the shed, they formed a moving white carpet that stretched nearly the length of a football field. Another one was on page 150, but as I have said before, the birds never go outside, even when the doors are opened. Again, I'm very sorry, guys. That is very sad. All right. Your next question asked you, is the evidence presented in this text section sufficient? Why or why not? So I know that your answers are going to vary. You have your own opinions about whether it was sufficient, why or why not. But you might have said something along these lines. The evidence presented in this section is sufficient because it presents enough information that helps the reader understand more about the reality of industrial organic farm practices. Michael Pollan shares evidence on the reality of organic chickens and how they are grown and processed rapidly. It makes the reader consider aspects of industrial organic farming practices that are only slightly better than industrial practices, which helps them understand that the claim Pollan presents makes sense. All right, guys, and another one that you had is the reasoning shared in this text section sound? Why or why not? So again, your answers will vary on this. Here is a sample response. I'm going to ask that your teacher pause the video and go over this one with you, and you guys can have some discussion about this, okay? So go ahead and do that now. All right, guys. So this morning you talked about some pros and cons. We're going to come back to that in our closing and assessment. So here's what we're going to do for closing today. So What strategies might help you determine the argument points and relevant evidence as you watch the video? Watch for the gist. So I'm going to ask that your teacher go ahead and play this short video called Farmers Markets now. All right, guys, now that you've watched that video, I want you to turn to your elbow partner and talk about what is the gist of this video? What is this video mainly about? So please go ahead and do that now. All right, guys, I'm going to ask that you watch the video a second time. This time, think about what is the main claim, what are the supporting points, and what evidence is used. Those three things you are thinking about. So go ahead and do that now. All right, guys, I'm going to leave these questions up on the board. I need you guys to turn to your elbow partner and have some discussion. Your teacher should be circulating the room and listening to your discussions and having some of this discussion with you. So go ahead and work through these 4 questions now. Okay, guys, 2 more. Same process we just did. Turn to your elbow partner and talk through these 2 things now. All right, guys, I'm going to remind you that we met our learning targets for today. This was a packed lesson. Thank you guys for keeping up and keeping pace. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing now. I'll see you guys again very soon.